Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ESL's coverage of the Overwatch World Cup group stages. Apologies for the lateness of the stream. We had a little bit of a program that we used to stream to a few different websites. It didn't work, so we got rid of that just to Twitch, just to you guys. So apologies for the delay. Not even fun, but we're going to be getting to this one really quickly. Let's recap yesterday, Jason. Let's recap the groups and see where we're at.
Yeah, because that's really important considering what's coming up today later on in the game. So for Group A, we finally did have some matches being played there with it looks like currently in the lead is the CIS and Baltic team. But they're actually going to be playing up against Germany, pretty much like the two teams we're looking at as potentially getting out of the group.
Yeah.
Over into Group B, Finland, of course, as we 100% expected them, are 2-0, leading the group at the moment with United Kingdom in third place, which is the other team we were looking at. However, Iceland was able to take them down in the entirety of the best of three, went all the way. So maybe Iceland should be the team we're actually looking at as potentially getting second. Group C, Norway, France, Portugal, Ukraine, and Croatia. That's the group we're covering in our first match today. It's going to be France against Portugal. And that match is important here, Mitch, because if France does beat Portugal, they'll be tied with Norway, which is actually our second game coming up today, France versus Norway. And that determines if you're first or second in the group, most likely with how the group's already played out, which means you avoid potentially Finland, potentially, Sweden, potentially Germany. So you obviously want to do the best that you possibly can to get that first seed.
Absolutely, but that's going to be an interesting group. Yeah, Sweden just dominated. They're straight through. This also means that Slovakia their story is pretty much over there in that Group D. So those top seedings are important, even getting that second seed as opposed to getting the first seed. That can change quite a lot. Group E is an interesting one. Russia and Italy. That's going to be a massive game happening later on today. We're not covering it, but the Italian casters and the Russian casters and Cyrus, the German casters, are going to be covering that game. We get to see Israel, though. We get to see Israel play Bulgaria towards the end of the day. So that'd just be interesting to see what these two teams are sort of made on. So that's going to be interesting. Of course, last one there as well. Czech Republic looking very good. That group's still wide open. Benelux and Austria were very close together. We haven't even seen Spain play yet.
They have a lot of their games, I think, coming up today as well. So I'm not 100% sure if we're actually covering any of their matches in particular, just because there's so many games happening at the same time that we're not able to obviously multicast games at once. I don't think that's possible. It wouldn't make any sense.
But we've got, some games have full slots because we're all just community casters coming in. This is not like an ESL run thing. This is just, we have a chance to come in and cast the games as does everyone else. So we try and keep it fair, try and make sure as many games as possible actually get shown as well across all the different languages. Yep. Even if maybe you don't speak French, but your team's playing in French, still might be good to go and watch that one. But let's kick this one off, Jason, straight into the action. Portugal versus France. We're going to be starting on Temple of Anubis. And as some clever individuals discovered last night as I revealed some details that I didn't need to reveal, yes, the maps are set for each sort of round. We'll call them rounds, but the rounds can happen at different times. It's just whenever we can get the teams to play. So there's no rule. There is a rhyme and reason to when we see these maps, but they are set maps. They are played in order, and the losing team chooses the side to start on. That's how we work it out here. But yeah, Portugal on the blue side going to be defending here first. France impressed us yesterday. They definitely received a lot of criticism in the early stages, given just obviously the caliber of most of the French players out there in the scene. But they've done well so far. I have to highlight Kitty and Mikolos, two people who were maybe not super known to us, but played very, very well. Kitty's Anna was very good, and Mikolos' Roadhog also was quite good to watch.
And we should go to the laps, at least for Portugal, since this is probably your first time seeing them in the entire World Cup. We have Kay over on Symmetric currently playing on that defense. Sanalex playing Junkrat. Mozaza,
I guess.
Mozaza's playing Reinhardt. Spect playing McCree. Limity on Zenyatta. And Warrior Prime, that's a good name, over on Mercy. So not really. Well, actually, we're going to see Battle Mercy maybe out of him.
Maybe. I was going to say, it's such a badass name, but then you play Mercy. But hey, you can do things with that hero that people don't expect. So, see Kitty going to be on the pharmacy, half of the pharmacy duo at least there. D-Gun on the Pharah, and we are rolling back the years, boys. And D-Gun getting aggressive straight away as well, putting a lot of damage down towards Spec, but he falls down. Nice for Spec to respond in the high pressure situation by getting the shots down towards the Pharah, and he takes down Kitty as well. This is a very good response from the Portuguese side. Even with Malzasa now getting involved, Nox can only really take to the skies, try and get a kill away in that fight. But Malzasa is going to make sure that he's dealt with in short shrift.
So Warrior Prime actually keeping Spect alive as he took 2 rockets from D-Gun. I think pretty much saved that entire fight for them. Like, yeah, he eventually did go down, but because he kept his McCree up, it didn't give France that one-man advantage they needed to push into this one. So now on the back foot here, France have to go in for a second attack. However, ultimates are coming up extremely quickly, and Crew already took down K before we can get even a teleporter down. So now Portugal somehow have to hold, and they've already lost like half the people on the other side of the choke point.
Yeah, they're staggered out. They lost a good amount of their team in the first fight here. So with the French pushing in as fast as they actually are, well, they're going to be able to take this point now by the looks of things here. First push wasn't great. The second will be enough, and D-Gun can zone out the entirety of the Portuguese lineup here that are trying to come back in. And there's not much they can do. So that's Symmetra as well. We did see that getting picked up there for, I think, San Alex. No, it's K. Yeah, no good there. No teleporter sort of coming out of that one, which is a bit of a shame, but sometimes it is hit or miss. Now going to be switching over towards Azaya. We still have the Junkrat in the mix here, maybe? We see a switch? Bit of discussion, perhaps. Yes, going to go to the Genji now. Quite a switch, that.
And you can see Spect already being overrun on point. Most importantly, D-Gun's going to be popping the barrage off towards the side. You can see Nox just trying to keep Spect out of this fight, but he has Deadeye available, so this is actually a really key target for them to focus onto. And there's the revive coming out of Kitty to give France a second chance.
Soundberry coming in here as well for the French side. Want to keep themselves topped up and fighting up at this point. Send Alex up in the air. Can't do a heck of a lot now. The Speed Yata coming on in to try and delay, but Crew's going to go forward. He's not going to allow the reinforcements for the Portuguese side to even set foot on the point. Well, not if he has any say in the matter anyway. He's knocked back. He was flashed away, but now he's zoning quite nicely. The point's still ticking up here. Mikolo as well, just holding on that Zaya, and K was the one I was trying to find, trying to get back on towards the point, but that's an excellent second point take there by the French side. Really, just kind of hard to fault their attack there. Sure, they lost the first push, but that was maybe intentional. They managed to stagger Portugal out so much, and then, well, they pushed straight on through.
They still have a lot of time to work with in their bank too, so it's 5 minutes and 54 seconds left in the time bank, and we are using the new competitive mode, the Season 2 competitive mode, as the rule set for these matches. So now Portugal will have their chance to attack. I think they need to look forward to this first point and what they can potentially do. We did see a little bit of diversity in their hero pool. K was playing Symmetra, switched over to Zarya. Sanalix was Junkrat, went over to Genji. Now he's playing Pharah. So they definitely have a deep hero pool, with at least in these two players particularly. But then again, the other four don't really need to switch up too much because that's always going to be a solid core when it comes to making up a team.
And it did look pretty good in that last little moment there, I have to say. Obviously, D-Gun, the Pharah, I like the Pharah on the attacking side of Anubis, to be honest. I mean, I don't need to tell you. I know you're a big fan of that one, but...
I'll play Pharah whenever I can play Pharah.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what map, what area, even if we're losing, I'll still play Pharah. Or Mei.
I tried to play a bit of Mei last night as well. I don't know.
So you're more of a hit scan player. I think I figured out. You're more of a hit scan.
I can't play
and I'm more of a projectile player.
I can't play projectiles.
Because I play Pharah, I play Mei, and Mei has right-click projectile.
Yeah.
I play Zenyatta. I can kind of play Genji, not obviously to the level these guys do, but my McCree's crap because I don't have the patience, and I don't like the pressure that's put on you when you play McCree, because you're expected to play well, and if you don't, you feel it.
It's so satisfying though.
Like if you play a Zen, you don't do well, you don't really notice it too much because he can obviously keep you healing, and as long as he puts a Discord, he does like the basics of his job. But McCree's basics require, well, killing their DPS, hitting headshots, not missing anything, and not going out of position, and that's just too much pressure for me.
Well, let's get into this one now as well. Let's talk about the attacking composition. I'm more interested in this one at this stage as the defensive one. If you see it, it's not super out of the ordinary, except with maybe D-Gun on the Reaper, but that's fine. No Tracer here. Neither team go for the Tracer, I think is really powerful on this map. But anyway, we're going to see the Pharmacy combo again here for Warrior Prime and San Alex. We're going to have the Zarya coming in for K3, and Mazasa is going to be playing the Winston here. So good, good dive ability. As we just see from Mazasa, illustrates my point quite well. Good disengage there as well. Just goes in, gets a bit of damage, then backs away. Mikolo's good actually knocked off the edge, and D-Gun might have to commit. He goes down himself. Warrior Prime out towards the backside, keeping everyone nice and healthy. And Nox standing at the gate. Spectre already picking two players of the French lineup out here. This Portuguese squad has the killer instinct.
It looks like they actually might be able to have this first point on the first attack as well. Spec just needs to knock out down. He gets the shot. He only has 50 HP left, but he's looking for Alpha Cast now in this 1v1, and Alpha's just trying to do everything he can to dodge behind this fountain in the middle. But Senelix will come in, secure the kills, and Portugal will pick up the first point on first attack. They're on a really good time.
Yeah, and you can see now D-Gun just wants to try and delay a little bit because of how quickly the Portuguese came through. I mean, it's not really going to amount to too much in the end, that Tracer. I expect to see him switch back towards the Reaper here. The Mei is coming out for D-Gun. So, interestingly enough, that first point's going to be taken here. No worries about that one. Easy enough. And now we are going to see the Portuguese push forward. No big changes. They could duck back and switch into that room if they wanted to, but they're happy with this composition here.
Yeah, Senelix, I mean, he's going to have his barrage relatively soon, which makes things even harder to really contend with it for France. But if D-Gun gets a couple of good pot shots off, potentially take him out of the air. Not to mention Nox is doing a good job of just keeping the shield up as much as he can. But the Earth Shatter, he catches a Pharah, who's meant to be in the sky, but now she's in the grave. But there's the res to pull her back out.
A nice little turnaround there. Lemede going to come in with the Transcendence, but he's already lost a lot of his team here. The rest of France are just sort of free to go and do damage. Every time I switch to D-Gun, he's dead. I should be used to that by now, but somehow I'm not. Crew, though, up on the point, wants to just hit the last shot in. That's the one. Just plug that one straight over the top there. And that will shut down the attack here for the Portuguese side. So, again, deliberation period for the Portuguese. Do they mix up here? I like the spec on McCree. I think he's in a very, very good McCree from what we've been seeing so far. They still want to persist here with the Pharah. San Alex does just have that ultimate coming online here. So they'd like to set it up with K, I guess. Get a decent Graviton Surge in and make it happen. But still ready to go.
He's using the Anubis skin on Temple of Anubis. Good on him. All right, San Alex, though, the barrage, like you're saying, I think this could be really impactful, especially when you have a Graviton Surge to pull it into, and they don't really have anything to counter with. It's just going to be a Sound Barrier, but San Alex is going to be... Did he get slept? Kitty has switched over to Anna.
Yeah. Nice job by Kitty there, putting that Pharah to sleep, and she's trying to use the barrage. And now Kitty free to do a bit of damage. Try and heal if she can. Not easy, though. Shot after shot comes in, and Malzassa going to send the Fire Strike in a direction. And will definitely knock her down. Now Diva's coming in. Crew gets pinned straight away. They're immediately desuited because of the Orb of Discord. Malzassa not taking any sats up on this point. And again, her Shadow comes in just to secure this one. Oh, Alpha Cast. Hate to see it happen to you, mate, but there comes the Graviton Surge in. There's not going to be any follow-up to this one, except for Nox coming in from the backside here. Nice little pick up there. Now Miklo trying to do a bit of work here, but Kitty again, getting the healing going. Oh my lord, we do have the Nano Boost available, but he gets taken down. Now Spect, a lot of work for him to try and do to get on towards this point. Great hold so far for the French side. Graviton Surge comes in, but again, there's no follow-up forthcoming for the Portuguese.
Yeah, but Nox, he charged and killed Warrior Prime, so there's no res. They would have had the res in the fight. That actually should have been enough to close out this actual half, but that charge alone completely turned the tides of that fight, and now you have Nox with Earth Shatter again. You've got D-Gun with his Blizzard ready to go, and France have been able to hold on, but Warrior Prime, he's got to be a little bit more careful his positioning, and more importantly, just not get charged from behind it. I mean, sometimes the sneaky Reinhardt catches you off guard, but they needed that res in that fight.
I mean, and you combine that with the Nano Boost as well. Reinhardt will have ultimates for days. It's very, very easy for him to charge up the ultimate and stay alive by getting in the backline, doing damage. There comes another one. Malzassa gets knocked towards the ground, but San Alex trying to come in and get a bit of work done. Cuts in over across the top, realizes he's not going to get too much for this as Nox has already decimated most of his team. He's going to have to pull back and hope that, well, they can just disengage here without being staggered out, but it's not going to happen here. Crew comes forward, gets a bit aggressive, got to chase down Warrior Prime as well, and even Spectre's going to fall. Nice little push here from the French. This is going to buy them nice time. Looked like it would be a very even showing, and time back would be a big factor after the first point. The Portuguese getting stunted.
I think, again, it just goes back to that charge. Like that, I think, basically saved France from having a bigger time bank allotted to them than Portugal. But the Ballista that D-Gun has, it was changed in the recent patch. Reinhardt shield doesn't block it anymore. It can actually be thrown through a Reinhardt shield. But that Earth Shatter coming through is going to be big. But there's the wall coming out of D-Gun to stop the charge and to stop the follow-up.
Big Blizzard coming out for the man himself, and the follow-up is even better. Crew gets himself too. Now the res is going to come back in though, but it's going to be a Sound Barrier at least to keep the French alive. K is going to get pretty chilly over in this corner right now. Again, it'll probably take a couple ones of that. Couple shots towards the head. D-Gun with a bit of a flick of the wrist, a bit of flair when it comes to the ice spikes coming in. Lemede having to back away, but again, you know the French are going to chase this one down. They're not going to allow these supports, these stragglers to get away alive. San Alex can do it purely because he has the Reflect available.
Well, pretty much with every ultimate being expended in that fight, Spec's the only one with one remaining, currently sitting on that Deadeye. But there's 3 minutes left to go. And France, it looks like they're starting to finally be pushed here when it comes to actually to their opponents, because we saw them in games earlier on yesterday. And it seemed relatively one-sided, but the Sriracha has been able to come together. More importantly, Portugal, I feel like it's been honestly not a bad job at all. Doing actually a relatively good job. They're switching things up when they realize that K is now going to be playing on the Winston instead of the Zarya. They're trying to adapt to what France has, but Kitty, if he doesn't get interrupted, if he doesn't get dislodged from this position, especially if they come up towards this right side, then it's going to be really hard to kind of penetrate this defense.
Yeah, I mean, Kitty in an excellent spot right now as well. Almost reading into this push coming in from the right-hand side here. So let's see how it all goes head-to-head. Nox obviously will be there at the front here. Comes with a fire strike. The wall comes up and they manage to isolate K here, but they ignore him right now because the Deadeye comes in. Clever of Nox to go back and defend against that, but he goes down. Spec gets 2. It's going to be Crew and Nox actually fall to that one. Flash comes in and Kitty is in a world of hurt. Spec with a damage boost on top of him and the Earth Shatter. Almost unnecessary at this point, but you know the Portuguese want to secure this one out. Blizzard comes in. Who's going to be caught? It's going to be Spec and San Alex getting caught, but again, no follow-up really to speak of. Again, Crew tries to come in with a Diva. Again, he gets charged out. He comes back in on towards the point with 3 health just to keep it contested. Now the Bunny Blaster working on Limede. A lot of damage done. It should even work, but no, the health pack comes in. Lucky for the Omnic Monk to keep himself alive, and even Spect assisting. But Kitty comes down there as well. Nice little pickup. It's a foot to the face, and now I'm struggling to find someone who's actually alive and fighting. But the French somehow holding on by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, Deegan there as well, just trying to keep this point alive, keep it contested. But the drop that we saw come out, Kitty went down towards the bottom side, Crew as well. It didn't force, it just pulled 3 people from Portugal down to defend that one and to actually pick up those 2 last kills. But when that happened, it's like, all right, you gave up the point, you gave up that pressure you had there, and France is able to respawn back in pretty much at the same time to refight here. But Warrior Prime again has Res ready to go. Sanalix has the Dragon's Blade, but Mikolo, that Graviton Surge is going to be the big turning point. If he can hit this on multiple people, not to mention Nox, who's been hitting pretty much every Earth Shatter he's been throwing out. I still am not sure Portugal can successfully take this. They need to somehow kill these supports.
Yeah. Earth Shatter will be important here for Mazasa if he can make it work, but Nox is always going to be in his way. Preemptive Sound Barrier comes out, and there comes the Earth Shatter as well, but Mazasa is also knocked towards the ground himself. Kitty gets one on there on towards K. Nice pick up, and now Alpha just trying to keep an eye over this fight. Actually, a fairly quick wipe here for the French side. Mazasa, not much he can do trying to charge forward and change this fight, but even Crew is going to get the shutdown there on towards his opposite number. Spect has to eat a flash grenade and a couple shots to the dome. Ults were used there en masse for Portugal. 30 seconds left. This is going to be their last push.
Oh, they still have at least the Deadeye and the Res. I think, again, Warrior Prime just didn't get it off in that fight. Maybe getting picked off by Crew. But Mikolo, he still has a Graviton Surge, and Deegan as well with the Blizzard. Like, if they try to attack this one, if they clump up on point, they're dead. Like, there's just nothing you're going to do to this combo of this Mei and Zarya.
Oh, Nox is going to go in there with a charge. He gets also the nano boost. He's looking for the McCree, and he gets him. There's not much Spec can do about that one. So much damage reduction on the Reinhardt. But now the Blizzard comes in again. Deegan going to get that one off at a good time. Who's going to be frozen, though? Everyone seems to be backing away. But, of course, the speed gather of Limede gets to stand on towards the point. Not for very long, I might add, but still long enough. Now another Earth Shatter comes in. Of course, there's yet another one available for Nox because he had that nano boost. Lets him do the damage in the fight. It's important to charge up that ultimate. And the French, well, there ain't no white flag hanging outside their door. They're going to hold this point pretty comfortably now as well. Overtime ticks down. It's going to be stalled out very, very briefly here by San Alex. But again, he falls, and that should be it.
So there you go. France securing map 1 of Temple of Anubis, which means we'll be heading over to Numbani as our second map. That's going to be Deegan's playground, I feel like, with Farah if he does go for that. But Portugal, we have to give him credit. That was actually not a bad performance overall. They took the first point on the first attack. They were able to defend against France on the first attack when they were going and they had to defend. Honestly, not a bad job overall. And when it comes to maybe a payload map, maybe they'll have an advantage here.
Yeah, when we saw that Portugal tried to go for this sort of 2-pronged attack where K would come around the side, the right side that is, and the rest of Portugal in from the left. But you can see Warrior Prime now has to go in for this kind of res, but you can also see the devastation that's being caused here to the Portuguese lineup. Blizzard comes in, and Deadeye is a great combo with that one as well, because obviously there's not much you can do to avoid it. Plus, you're already taking some early damage. Crew with a nice amount of kill participation. We expect no less from him. We don't really get to see much of his McCree anymore, so it is nice to see him pop that one out.
For good reason. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean,
it was a bad McCree.
He's just super good over a range of heroes, but I don't think anyone's going to call him the best McCree in Europe.
Well, it's because he doesn't play for his team. He doesn't like have to practice at 500 hours
and why would
a week.
You then?
Yeah, exactly. Then yeah, if you give him like a Zarya or maybe a Genji, I'll give him a Genji.
I like his Junkrat as well.
Like his Junkrat?
Genji's pretty sick.
He's got good junk.
He played a good Pharah as well. You like his junk?
His Junkrat's it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Numbani though, I'm actually wondering if they're going to be, well, who's going to be attacking, who's defending first? Because we've seen with a lot of the games, loser chooses. Okay, so we'll see how they want to go. Because I feel like if you're,
I think
losing team.
I think the first point of this map feels like a 2 capture point map, just with how enclosed it is and sort of. Well, to be fair, the spawn, about the spawn distance is about the same really. It's just super defensible. You've got multiple levels of control, really.
I think it's more about the mindset. Do you want to attack first and potentially fail in the first point, or do you want to defend first and be like, oh, okay, we just have to finish the map? Because it's time bank. It's not based off stopwatch. Yeah, it's about finishing the map, not about finishing it quickly.
Some teams definitely prefer to defend first because then they know at least what time they have to reach. There's like a defined goal. Yeah. Whereas when you attack first, it's like, well, let's just do our best, chums.
And if you fail to capture the first point, it's like, all right, well, we have to hold first point or we lose. So, I don't know. We'll see. They're still, I think, talking things over, trying to figure out what side they want to go on to. But yeah, interesting game. I'm trying to think. Like, Nox had some really good plays. I think he's proven to be like a really aggressive tank. Probably to let out some anger he has playing Lucio only. for Rogue.
We actually watched 2 of France's games yesterday there as well, and Nox was like hyper aggressive there as well. Generally quite good. I mean, also it depends on what the calling's like. You know, if you look at a team like Rogue, where Reinforce isn't calling and he's being told to go in, and then a team like France, who I believe that I'm pretty sure Nox is calling on that team and still wants to go aggressive. It's quite interesting. It's like, you know, I was talking with someone about this actually. When you're a caller, right, and you can sort of make the engagement, like if you're a Lucio player, for example, or a Reinhardt player, when you say go in, there's no input lag to the player that actually has to go in because you're the one doing it, right? So you can act on your call far quicker than having to say it and then having someone comprehend it and then respond to it. So it can be a little bit more helpful to be a caller and to be an initiator. So like a Lucio, that's why we see it quite often, because you can just bang that speed boost on and people just have to go because they know, I'm moving faster. Oh, he's just said to go in, let's do it. Reinhardt to a degree as well. I mean, you can sort of tell a Reinhardt to go in, but it's also nice when you can take initiative there as you're a caller. So you say, oh, here's an opportunity. I'm not going to wait to be told to go in. I'm just going to try and do it.
I wonder how I'm trying to think how the delay works. I understand the delay.
There's no
because if you're like the Reinhardt and you're like the saying, okay, let's go in, and you charge at the same time, it's like your team can be like, wait, what? And I've had that happen to me.
Less so for Reinhardt, right? But I mean, the input lag and relaying information, having it comprehended and acting on it is more like,
especially if it's a time-sensitive situation.
It's better for Lucio because people hear the sound cue and know they're moving forward. But that's why I find it interesting that Nox is probably the caller of this team, whereas he is the caller on Rogue but plays Lucio there. Just interesting stuff. Just, you know, stuff to consider. Ponder your navel on a rainy day, as it were. But anyway, it's going to be Portugal on the attacking side to start with. So, hey, ponder your navel.
What does that even mean?
Your navel's like your belly button. It's like people just sit down and just think. It's a turn of phrase.
That's actually not bad.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I like that.
That's why they call them navel oranges, because they look like they have belly buttons. Not because they're from the ocean.
Yes! You're making this up.
No, I'm serious.
You're making this up. I don't believe you.
People tweet Jason and tell him that I'm right. Navel oranges is because they look like they have a belly button, because the skin doesn't cover the whole thing. There's a part of the orange that... Oh, never mind. It's true. It's a real thing. And it's navel. N-A-V-E-L. I'm just like, navel oranges, what? Do they take them on the ships? Because people thought navel oranges...
Okay, I'm not that guy.
No, because people thought navel oranges because oranges have vitamin C, which prevents scurvy, which is something you can suffer at sea, right? So people thought that's why they called navel oranges.
Let's just talk about scurvy in general and try to help people prevent themselves from having it. Mitch, can you go into what it is and what it does to the human body?
Well, no, we're not doing that. We're talking about team comp now, just before I get ahead of myself. So crew going to be on the Genji here. Oh, okay, Alpha. I like this. I think D-Gun's a bit upset about not being able to play Torbjorn on this map, because this is like the Melty special. Always used to play Torbjorn on defense on Numbani, but it is going to be Alpha on that role. Mikolo again. I like this. I'm happy to see him. A little bit of a late selection though there as well. He should have enough time to get up onto the balcony, but yeah, a little bit late for Mikolo really. If it's going to be a fast push from the Portuguese, he may not be ready for it.
Well, okay. Look at the Portugal side. They have a Genji, they don't have a Winston, so they don't have the ability to assist into that one. They're running 2 tanks, and they're actually... Ooh. This is sneaky.
Are they crouch walking? No, they're not.
No, they were for a point, but Zenyatta can't do it because he floats.
That's true.
But anyways, we do have, looks like Nox already being in towards the backside. The rest of the side of France on the high ground, Alex is going to be able to drop back down, but they've already lost out on a couple of players here.
This is really nice. There's Spect actually doing a lot of the work as we're looking at Sad Alex, who is definitely chiming in. There's a shot to Cruise Dome. He's not going to be happy about that one. Very nice little push here. It's very rare actually to see teams nowadays sort of push this that aggressive. Sometimes you will push up the back and go around the top balcony if they have stuff like, I don't know, Soldier 76 and Widow or anything like that. But pushing straight through onto the point, that's just weird. And I think it's taken the French side off guard. I don't think they were ready for that at all.
Even their comp was odd. It was weird. It wasn't standard by any means.
Winston, but no Genji, but no Winston.
No. France side with the Torbjorn, the Roadhog, the Winston, the solo healing.
Crew just got wrecked again. Spect as well, finding D-Gun. Oh, Deadeye going to come out here. Spect not going to get much for it, but it does actually give the Frenchman pause for thought as they have to back up there. Tumbleweed now just rolls down the road. Best effect in the game. Thanks, Blizzard. And again, Spect just going to pressure on here as well. The Earthshatter comes out. Oh, it's all too easy there. Spect's like taking candy from a baby. Just shooting those prone targets now, and they're going to make their way through the entirety of the streets phase here without really being stopped.
Yeah, France just wasn't able to get a solid defense, but even then, like the second phase of Numbani isn't really as difficult as the first or as difficult as the last. It's definitely the easiest part of the entirety of this map, but D-Gun actually has been able to make his way through onto the point with the Tracer, just trying to buy some time, trying to eliminate some seconds off that time bank, and was Mauzaza is actually charging straight through the enemy team, hitting nothing and is pretty much by himself?
I think he tried to hit Nox, but it didn't quite work out. who, the man himself as well, is stalling quite nicely. This is like awesome guy level stall. This is what Winghaven does as well on Numbani. Just, no, Dorado, sorry, just barely stays alive. They actually win the fight there. We missed Crew. I'm so sorry, getting those 3 kills over on that one. This is what happens when you're observing and casting. It can be hard to keep track of both things, but really nice by Crew coming in there. And now with under 5 meters to go, the payload's going to be shifting back. Nicely done there, and all off the back of D-Gun and Nox just keeping it delayed out there. And Nox actually, I think, stayed alive ultimately there, even though he was down to 20-odd health, so that's quite nice.
Using the jump reset, actually, of coming out of Prima Rage to his advantage. And why take the shield down? He was trying to charge Crew, but that was a little bit of a misplay of an event, so Crew's been able to take advantage of that, picking up 1 kill. Even the Zenyatta ultimate going to be coming out just to keep people alive of Alamid, but it's just not going to do enough here, as Nox is going to get the punch on the spec before he goes down.
Oh, the nice Graviton surge here inside the building, just going to allow the Frenchman to take better position. Pulse Bomb goes on. Lameda actually gets caught by the blowback, I guess the splash damage, as it were. So D-Gun getting a free kill there, essentially, now going to try and follow up on towards Warrior Prime. The fight started off really well for the Portuguese sides, but now the reinforcements from the Frenchmen have actually been able to stymie them. St. Alex has to back away here. So does K, even though that he has the Graviton Surge available himself. They need to wait to group up yet again. This is awesome from the French side. They're getting so much time saved here in terms of the bank, or they're bleeding much more time from the Portuguese.
The fact that Crew could just keep picking up like these 1 kills like at the very end of the fight or before they even actually begin, it gives France the man advantage and gets the reset onto Portugal, so they came in for the fight. And Maozaza, the tankiest man on the team, already been taken down immediately here as Nox in the backline just trying to swing the way. D-Gun picks up 1. And their team's able to chime back in, and Portugal will be wiped again. But they still have 3 minutes left on the clock. They still have the payload relatively close to the checkpoint. There's still definitely a chance for them to push us around that final bend.
Yeah, I mean, going into that fight, they had a couple of ults to work with there. Nox, of course, at the Prima Rage, which really allowed them to push forward. So Crew and D-Gun do have their respective ults available here. So we'll see if they use well. D-Gun managed to get a nice little cheeky kill there. In fact, essentially 2 kills off his last Pulse Bomb. Goes in, going to try and bang it on towards the back there. A good sound barrier. Now that's going to help keep Spect alive as it goes for the Deadeye. It's a 3-man 1. Where the heck were the Frenchmen to defend that? Spect now comes in, gets the flash on towards D-Gun. He goes down, it's Fan the Hammer, and that's an easy clean-up fight. That shouldn't be happening. 3 kills off a Deadeye. No. Shields and stuff. Where are they? Nox is playing Winston. That's probably half the reason.
I think D-Gun made a major mistake there too on the Tracer, because he pulse bombs right before the Deadeye. Then he ends up staying too close to his pulse bomb, so he has to rewind so he doesn't die from it. And then during the time of the rewind and then try to kill him through a sound barrier, he gets 3-man Deadeye off. Like that
so
ideally should be a Tracer be able to pick up that kill immediately. I don't want to be too harsh on him, but small mistakes like that can cost your team.
Well, Crew at least going to make up for lost time, or at least try to there. He gets himself the 1 kill. D-Gun now, another pulse bomb comes out. Just gets on towards K there. Nice little pick up, and again, more time to stall out here. To be fair, and like, honestly, to be fair to the French side, they really managed to stretch that Streets phase out to a lot longer than it would ordinarily be, and a lot longer than the Portuguese side would have liked. When you've got your Reinhardt switching to a Winston, and then obviously you have a Zarya. Thanks for that, Laurent. Well, yeah, so you don't really have a lot to really protect you against a Deadeye in some cases, and it was possible we saw an ult from K there as well to make that one easier. It was quite a messy fight, hard to say. But Spec, the man of the moment on the screen here, just doing a lot of damage, just picking out these shots where you just wouldn't imagine you'd take them. Some players don't even bother to take some of the shots that Spec is going for, but now Graviton Surge in. Where's the follow-up going to be there? Crew gets in there, Maozaza charges out of it there, and Nox is just going to back away out of the cover of his shield there. Crew, safe positioning. D-Gun goes in and gets onto a Spec, but now Crew's going to get sucked into the Graviton Surge of his own. There's no follow-up. There is a Reinhardt shield out there in the way, and D-Gun gets himself 2. This is going to be enough now for the French to just stretch their legs and push forward a little bit more. And D-Gun to chase and get some extra kills. That's what Trace is very good at doing, staggering out your foes after they lose a fight.
More importantly, Kitty saved the Transcendence actually for the Graviton Surge out of K's. So even if they were able to use it without a Tracer or a Deadeye, there's just no way you're really going to be able to burst through that Transcendence or even an Anna paired in just to put the Biotic Grenade down. So now D-Gun again with the Pulse Bomb. See if he can have a little bit of a better try here as he immediately drops the Spec. And not to mention Earthshark going to be coming in. Nox hits the charge as well on the Spec. And that is just quick kills coming in left and right here for France.
Yeah, messy stuff there. Earthshatter comes in and definitely hits the mark, and now Mikolo left in a battle of the Zaryas here. At least Nox is going to be there to assist as well.
Don't cross the beams.
Oh, no.
Ghostbusters!
No. All right, Mikolo now going to get the shots in from the backside, a little bit well healed up. And St. Alex does have a Dragon Blade. Does he want to use it here? Yes, he does, but I don't really know if there's really enough to cover him pushing in towards this fight. Yeah, a little bit aggressive from him. Didn't really have the protection or any sort of, I don't know, interruption into that fight that would allow him to pass through safely.
The thing is, he had Dragon Blade up in the last fight, and he could have gotten behind him to use it, but there was a Transcendence, so he didn't want to waste, I think, his Dragon Blade. But then K ends up Graviton Surging. Kitty then responds with the Transcendence, and he thinks he can actually pick up kills in the midst of him being by himself while in the entirety of the enemy team of France. So it was a little bit unfortunate for him. It was a good job by France to respond by grouping up and being able to hit the shots. And Mazaz, as you hear there, hits a double, I think that was. Triple with the Fire Strike. But he also has Earth Shatter. You just have an opportunity to use it yet, though.
Charge comes in. Spec now wants to make this Deadeye work from the shields up there. He gets himself 2 more. That's perfect. That's what the Portuguese need right now. They're going to build up some momentum off this, no doubt about it. Alpha Cast falls to Spec, and now Crew, he's got a lot in his plate. Unfortunately, a little bit too much in the form of a big old gorilla that's just going to give him the shock of his life. Make life impossible for him now. San Alex jumping back on towards the point. Full stall mode enabled here for the French side. Nox just going to make the charge in. Easy shot to hit, but he actually gets knocked towards the ground. Malzasser, I think, went to charge him out. Or maybe it was even a block there. No Earth Shadow going to be coming there. It's not going to be working out at all. Crew's going to be desuited, but there's no chance to stall out here. 9 seconds left in the time bank for Portugal. It's a little bit of time. It's not a lot, but it's enough to work with.
Mazazza and San Alex there with the double shield. Like, you saw, it was a 6-man Graviton Surge, right? Like, I didn't see that incorrectly. But the Earth Shadow was perfectly positioned to knock them down off the back of that once the Transcendence was ending. But the shield saved that, and that's what's so important sometimes about keeping a shield up. And considering how Mazaz has been playing, whenever they do get Graviton Surge, he actually just charges. Or there's a Deadeye, he charges. He's not keeping his shield up.
Yeah.
But that one little tweak in his play of keeping the shield available just has saved them that map and actually allowed them to finish.
In that moment as well, we did see Nox charge in, and he was either stunned or
he got Earth Shattered himself.
Okay, it was Earth Shattered.
I think no. Actually,
I'm sure Malzasser didn't charge him because he had a lot of time to see Nox coming, and if you're Reinhardt caught in the
that's true. It could have been. It actually could have been a charge himself.
Or it was Spec.
It looked like
grenade.
it was.
It's a little bit hard to tell, but he got stunned up, and that gave Malzasser enough time to put his shield up and block the Earth Shatter. So it's quite nice. It's really played out quite well, and it is what allowed the Portuguese to finish there. They could even have run out of time if that hadn't worked properly. Because the Earth Shatter comes in, even if there's no follow-up, it's good stall, and then you sort of come into a team, you're attacking as the French guys into the team that are a little bit in disarray there. But as it stands,
what is this? So Crew's playing the Pharah, and Tegan's playing the Genji.
Yeah, I mean, Crew, as soon as he in Graviton Surge, he was a great Pharah. As soon as he left Melty, he was like, right, boys, I'm playing McCree, I'm playing Pharah, I'm playing what I want to play. And he was really actually quite good there. That was back at the time where like players like Zany was still being forced to sort of, well, not forced, but having to switch towards Pharah. Zany was eventually one of the best Pharahs in Europe. He has amazing air shots, but at that time when Crew was sort of playing, when it sort of just first started happening, Zany was still adjusting to it. So he really spent a lot of time practicing on it. But Crew was like one of the initial aficionados of that one after leaving Melty. So D-Gun Genji. Don't see much of this these days, Jason. I don't know what your thoughts are. But let's talk about the
He plays more support than he plays Genji for Melty at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, then
he's in Yada, doesn't he?
Yeah, Moon L actually just
left the team, didn't he?
I don't know if left is the correct term for it. He was pushed off the team, as far as I heard. I think it was Sideshow actually put a interview up about it. Yeah, over.gg. But in the meantime, we do see France going for the attack here. Crew's coming around directly behind them, and these rockets, they do splash damage. They hit multiple people, and it looks like he'll ideally be able to survive this one, but Portugal going to fall by the wayside as they're trying to defend this first point.
Oh, that's beautiful stuff there as well. And good little clutch heal timing on Kitty just to keep Crew alive there. He would almost have fallen to that last fire strike. And look at this, D-Gun and Crew cutting it open. Easy enough there. I'll have this point quite easily. Crew just a couple shots in just as people are respawning, just to let them know that there's no point for them going to this point. And Spec realizes that. He knows that there's no point in trying to attempt to retake or contest this one. It was far too quick, a lightning fast assault, because Crew sort of split himself off from the rest of his team, came in by surprise. But now it doesn't stop here. Nox is going to try and come in and do a bit of work, just using the shield, started stepping in and out behind that one to stay alive, and even Mikolo working in from the side. Good zoning, even if he's not getting kills here. But now being pressured down, Mikolo may have extended a little bit too far, and he's just sort of stands there and that's to happen. So fair enough. But Malzasser now has that Earth Shatter, so he'll be waiting for the rest of his team to spawn in. They were actually staggered a little bit off that initial fight. So it's going to be a couple moments before they have everyone, but you can see where he's standing. We know what he wants to do here.
They don't really have a shield to block it either. Like, they don't have anything to really prevent the Earth Shatter from going in unless they just distract him and pull him into a different position. They should assume it's going to be up here, and actually, luckily for them, Mizalza actually goes for a charge instead of Earth Shatter the front line or the back line of France, and because of that, Crew picks up a double. D-Gun's going to secure a double as well. He's going to finally be able to pick up the kill on the K here in just a second. Actually gets him to kill himself, that's even worse. But there you go. Like, Mizalza, if he just turned around and Earth Shattered the entirety of France instead of trying to charge in, that actually would have been a good fight for Portugal, but France taking advantage of that. They capitalize.
Interesting positioning from Azasa here. I'm not really sure what the plan was going to be for him. Maybe just catch someone with a fire strike. But okay, so I don't know if there's going to be a chance here for a stall, but maybe it is. No, the Oceana comes in, but it's a moment too late. Mazasa can't stop this one here. Oh, that's going to be pretty frustrating for the Portuguese side, as now we see a huge time bank available for the French side as they press forward. Far more, in fact, than was available to the Portuguese. Graviton Surge came in, only caught Limede, who's going to use very, very quickly, of course, that Transcendence out now. Spec forced to backtrack. He's going to get taken down in the process, and Mikolo going to come forward with the rest of his squad. Again, when is Nox ever not in the back line of the enemy team? This guy's definitely got some aggression coming forward here. It's nice to see. We're used to seeing him on the Lucio, obviously more so calling the shots, but now he's leading from the front.
He's going to jump back in again, isn't he? He's got 95%.
Yep.
He has his Primal Rage ready to go. He already focuses directly on a Spec, knowing who's the prime target. He's going to pop the Prime last second at 20 HP. He gets it off now. He's just trying to swing and bat them away from this payload.
Okay, it's actually made the switch over towards Reaper here, which isn't terrible since Nox was causing so many problems, but D-Gun comes in with a Dragon Blade. Also, the barrage from up top. Every time we've seen these ults come out, they've actually been able to come out at the same time. D-Gun and Crew have had similar ult timing, so that there's not much you can really do about either of these ults coming in. D-Gun goes for the reflect, but it doesn't matter. Nox is going to push forward with the shield down and take down Spect. 4 minutes 47 left in the time bank here for France. That's a heck of a lot. Portugal, because they had less than a minute left, they get 1 full minute to get as far as they possibly can, and I believe they have to attack first, having the lesser time bank.
No, higher time bank attacks. Doesn't it? You sure?
Yeah. Well, not really, actually. We'll see. Actually, you might be right.
No, other way. Defending first.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm second-guessing myself now.
Good.
Right, so
that was the point.
Yeah, brilliant. Portugal come in now with 1 minute. So it's all about getting as far as they possibly can, and then France will have 5.5 minutes to match them. And that's a time where you could realistically finish the entire map quite happily. In fact, it took less than that for France to do the same thing. So not a great situation for Portugal. They really need to snowball some fights. If they're going to finish the map in 1 minute, as you can imagine, that's not quite enough time. They're going to have to be in overtime for the most part. And the longer they're in overtime, the quicker overtime ticks down, which means that the moment you step off the payload, if it's been overtime for like, I don't know, 30 seconds, overtime, that bar goes to 0 in like half a second. It's like bam. So you can't, eventually you can't afford to get knocked off the payload whatsoever. You can't afford to get booped off.
Do you know who Emil is?
Hey?
I think his name's Emil. It was a famous chef, and he had a TV show, and his punchline was, "Bam."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know Emil.
Wait, was it Bam? No, that was John Madden.
John
What
Madden
was the other one? There was a chef that had a punchline as well. I couldn't remember what it was.
Babam?
No, that's no.
Let's
No,
jump
it
in.
was him.
Let's
Anyways,
jump in. Come
whatever.
on.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, Portugal's going on the attack. 1 minute left to go. They have to capture the first point. This is definitely the initial start they need to pull off, and France is playing more of a realistic defensive composition this time.
Mazasa comes in straight towards the back and realizes that the rest of his team isn't there. So now Spec and Crew manage to pick up kills respectively now, and keep an eye on him. Of course, that McCree is going to be really important in the anti-personnel aspect, especially dealing with things like Tracer. But no, it's going to be a laser towards him. He's not able to do anything about it. And I think the French looking all right here on this hole. We see Spec go to D-Gun. That was the pickup there we were looking for. Alpha Cast goes a little bit low. Trying to deal with Malzasa now as well. We can see Discord Orb really making its mark. Tries to get the kick in there like a Cossack. Makes it happen, but eventually is taken down as a result. But Crew's still there on the point. Gets Warrior Prime. Gets K. And now, well, we're going to be in overtime for this last push here for the Portuguese. If they fail to get it, of course, all the French need to do is take the first point. That's what's at stake here. Spectre, good flash. He's going to get rid of Crew easily enough, and now he needs to transition towards this point with the rest of his team. If they get this point in overtime, overtime will continue further. So Spec wants to stay safe, but D-Gun went straight in for the kill there. You just saw him coming in like a bolt of lightning out of nowhere. D-Gun came in with a couple shurikens and the dash. Good little bit of damage done, and now, even in the absence of Crew, D-Gun is free to do so much work here. Transcendence comes in to keep him alive. Only one slash went on towards St. Alex, but Mikolo finishes the job. D-Gun comes in, Transcendence was there. Now Malzasa sat on the point, has to try and stall here, but over time, look how quickly it ticks down. And Malzasa falls to the ground limp and lifeless, and so do Portugal's chances of taking that point.
So now France, all they have to do to finish off this series is capture that first point, but if Portugal can defend, we will have a tie. Yeah, we'll have a tie on Numbani because of the hybrid mechanic of it.
Yep.
So.
And you can have tied series in this, by the way. It's like any round, it's because it's a round robin and not a bracket. We can accept that ties exist. It's not a problem. I mean, obviously, if you think about the Euros or the World Cup in football, it's the same sort of thing. You can have ties. So we can accept that, but obviously that only happens if you're one apiece and then the third map goes to a tie. And in some series, that's kind of hard to do. In some cases, obviously, ties are quite rare now. They only sort of happen when you both fail to take the first point. But the French, Jason, didn't seem to have any problems taking their first point on their first attack. Crew was excellent on Pharah. We remarked that it was maybe interesting to see the switch between Crew and D-Gun in terms of their heroes, but D-Gun has shown that he can play this Genji quite well. He's definitely been supplementing Crew's attack, at least efficiently.
I think even Portugal's trying to switch things up here, letting K go over to the Roadhog. Go for a little bit more kill potential, even paired in with a Reaper. So that's a hell of a lot of damage, and if you try to play Reinhardt against us, it's just not going to work. But luckily for France, they're not even going for Reinhardt. They're actually going to have Nox again over on the Winston. He's been playing this pretty much non-stop, him or Reinhardt. And they have D-Gun and Crew. So they're not really affected too much when it comes to this Reaper, depending on where they position themselves.
Well, K needs to hit the hook on towards Crew, essentially. That's kind of what we used to see the Roadhog played on this map for so often in the past. But now the push is already on, so Crew just going ahead. Information right now is all he's looking to get. You can see most, in fact, the entirety of Portugal set up on the top balcony side. D-Gun goes in, should be able to get out safely enough here, and the concussive blast not able to knock anyone off the edge. Nox goes in, though. That's not going to end well for him there, but Crew able to at least trade kills over the top of that one. Crew's in a great spot to do some damage, but Spec there is not going to miss at that range. That is exactly the ideal range for McCree to do damage. Pretty hard hit against Genji in midair. You can see Spec still looking for D-Gun. Eventually finds it. No, that's perfect stuff here. Kitty, well, she's not going to last much longer either. And now Mikolo gets the shot in there. Unfortunately, he will fall as well. Very, very nice hold. AlphaCast really can only just look on in dismay as the rest of his team is gutted. So, deal with Spec, win game, in my opinion. This McCree needs to be challenged out.
Well, there's going to be a point, though, when France has ultimates up where it's going to be really hard for Portugal to defend this. They have to really depend on hitting a hook and killing someone pretty quickly against France before they get up the setup that they want to have happen. And K, he's already looking for. He's looking for Kitty, and he's going to have it. Oh, no! Yes!
Yeah.
What? He gets concussive blast off to the side, but it's still pulled around the corner.
Yeah, it pulls people around the corners now, his hook. It hits them more effectively, I guess. If you connect the hook, they come to you regardless. I think that's the way it works now. New Roadhog, new hotness,
no,
as
it's
it were.
when you hit the hook. Wait, it's when you hit the hook, if they're not in your line of sight, they don't get pulled. But
okay, so that was a change.
Yeah, that's the change. If they're in your line of sight, they get pulled. If they're not in your line of sight, they don't get pulled to you.
I saw this nutty hook from Himsy the other day because he sort of his hook went in like an L shape or something. It was like an angle in the hook that managed to catch it. I know the code's really interesting. I can't explain it. The code's really interesting for it, but it was probably the kind of hook that theoretically shouldn't work, and it still did.
I don't think anything about Roadhog's hook obeys the laws of physics.
No, you are right there. Anyway, Dragonblade coming in. He's looking for Spec, but the Spec just shuts him down. Beautiful stuff here. Crew, though, going to get the shield for most of the barrage, and that allows him to pick up Malzassa. Spec now going to be zoned out. This is how you deal with a McCree. You don't leave Pharah in a 1v1 against a McCree because she's probably not going to win out on that one most times. Great work by Nox. He went into the backlines. He zoned off Spec. He even got the kill on towards Lemede, and that should guarantee the win here for the French side. Just a bit of cleanup work now to be done. They're going to move on to the point and make sure they have 3 players. Malzassa has to charge this one. He has to get onto the point really quickly. He can allow for some time for this to happen, but now he has to go. Deadeye's going to be coming in here for Spec. Don't know if he can catch much with it. They're off towards the side, maybe. Nox, he gets 2. That's great. Mikolo and Nox both fall down. Now shots going in towards Crew, but it's going to be a sound barrier keeping the Pharah alive, and Crew comes out on top in this particular duel. He still has a few more people to clean off, and now, after Malzassa does get that Earth Shatter win, Crew needs to kill him, needs to finish him off in the next few moments, and he does, and the French take it. It's going to be a 2-0 series, a much closer game than we saw yesterday. The French looking incredibly good in this group, Jason.
Yeah, another big challenge comes. It's them up against Norway as our second match of the day. Winner of that one will come out as first seed of the group, and most importantly, dodge teams like Sweden, like Finland, like potentially Germany or the CS and Baltic area. Very important to finish first in your group, considering the teams that we currently have in others.
And finally, revenge as well for the French after the Euro Cup. Good to see. I didn't really want the French to win, but it was against Portugal in the Euro Cup, so I kind of had to pick one or the other. But lovely stuff from Spec there as well. A few occasions where he's able to set up situations for himself to get really good Deadeyes, and sometimes it's hard to do that with McCree because you've got a target painted on your back as McCree when you're playing games like this, and you'd see that Nox, that last fight was heavily off the back of Nox going in and zoning off Spec, or at least trying to deal with him first, because otherwise it was going to have a field day with Crew, obviously, who was playing that Pharah.
And yeah, well, I think they deserve the win. Like, I think they played well. I think Portugal had some really good individual plays. I don't think... I'm not 100% sure if their World Cup hopes are gone now, but with Norway being 4-0 or 3-0 and France being 3-0, I think it's safe to say that it is pretty much gone because there's no way for them to actually pick up enough wins to get into top 2. So
So this group's going to be really interesting. Then the next match we're actually covering is going to be a battle for first place in this group.
Yeah.
It's going to be France versus Norway, ladies and gentlemen, coming up at 3:30 p.m. CEST.
It's like half an hour.
About half an hour away, so it won't be too much of a break, but this is the way it goes. The teams schedule their games. We jump in when we can. Yeah. So when we return, it is going to be the decider match for this group. Going to be really interesting. I recommend you check it out. I haven't seen any of Norway yet, so we're hoping for a good show.